Welcome to The Relay, a podcast from Gulf Relay where we dive behind the scenes of our operations, teams, and industry.
So, welcome to another episode of The Relay. I'm William Everett, your Director of Safety. I'm joined by Kayla, who is a team member here in our Safety and Compliance Department. And we want to talk to you about the SSHR, Safety, Security, and Human Resources convention we went to in Phoenix, sponsored by your American Trucking Association. So Kayla, one of the things that we learned about was the Saliva test going live very soon, and I want you to tell us what implications that would have in our processes.
So for pre-employment and possibly randoms, instead of doing hair for pre-employment, you would do saliva testing, which could be done in-house, so the driver wouldn't have to sit at a clinic for hair testing. And the pricing is pretty much about the same, but it's a lot quicker process, so the driver wouldn't have to sit as long.
That's one of the things that we learned out there, and the reason that we went, Cedric Johnson, your log and camera auditor, Kayla and myself went to this conference as a team, as a group, and the reason we did that is because we want to improve ourselves, improve our knowledge, improve our processes while we're implementing things in the fleet. So the reason we went out there was to better ourselves so we could bring this back and implement it in some new, fresh ideas into the fleet. So one of the topics of discussions in one of the sessions that we attended was titled Death by Dogma. And what that means is that when you've always done things the way you've done them because that's how we've always done them, that mindset of we found something that works, we're going to stick to it, instead of trying to improve our processes. And in that session, we realized that we are one of the forward-thinking companies, that some of the great suggestions and big new ideas that are coming across the industry are already being implemented at Gulf Relay. We're already on the cutting edge, we're already in the front lines with the newest technologies that we are attempting to onboard now. Some we have onboarded, like Idelic, which is a safety system of record. Others are ELDs that are going to come 1st of 2025. But it was very refreshing to know that we are already doing what everybody else is suggesting that's the best practice in the industry.
So talking about Idelic, when drivers start here, they start at an average of 34 safety score, and they can go down or they can go up. And unfortunately, we have a lot of the fleet that automatically goes up within 2 to 3 months. And I have a lot of drivers that call me and say, hey, I took the professional development plan training through Vertical Alliance, and I'm curious to see what my score is. And they can go from hundreds to 60s within the amount of weeks. And they love getting the pat on the back and the good job and keep this up, or, to get it down more, you can do this. Stay off your speeding, lay off people, don't follow too closely. And they love it.
Kayla, what are some examples of ways that you use the Idelic software that we have in the safety department?
Physicals, keeping up with everybody's physical dates and how long your physical is. Your driver's license is very important. Obviously, you have to have a physical to be able to drive and be healthy. And I use that every day to make sure we're on top of all of our information. Another class that I attended at the conference was the speaker of Atlas Prevention, Injury Prevention, was talking about older drivers getting injured and not healing as fast. And obviously, if you're injured, you can't work. So you're sitting at home or sitting somewhere at a Goodwill hanging clothes on workman's comp. And a lot of places will have somebody on the yard during orientation to make sure that a driver can pull and push and not get injured, know how to run the fifth wheel, how to crank up the landing gear and not get smacked in the face. Just everything to keep you from getting injured. 3 points of contact is very, very, very important.
It is important, and what folks don't understand is it's a very long, drawn-out process. Even for the most minor injury, it's a very long process. It's very tedious. You're out of work at a reduced pay rate. There's not a lot of positive things to being injured, first of all, but to being involved in the workers' comp process either. It's very restrictive. And it is a tool that we use to rehab the drivers. Obviously, we're going to take care of an injured team member, but not being an injured person is always the best choice. We always need to do our best to not slip, trip, and fall. We don't want to have a shoulder injury from incorrectly releasing the fifth wheel. We don't want any of those things. This is a very dangerous profession with a lot of hazards to it. Everything we do is very simple. Our jobs are very simple, but not very much of what we do is easy. There's not very many things that I can say, hey, that's easy. This is not a profession for the weak. This is not a, you have to have a certain amount of intelligence to do well here.
And speaking of being weak, it was also talked about driver's state of mind. If they're not in it mentally, you're closer enough to getting injured or doing something that would injure somebody else. And drivers know that we as a whole are here for them mentally and physically anytime. They know they can come to us and we have an open door policy.
That's correct. This is not the principal's office. This is not the place where you come to get in trouble. We are a resource for the drivers. We work for our drivers. They don't work for us. We all work together, of course. We all sit at a round table where each person has a seat and they have their own task and on assignment. But at the end of the day, if we all pull in the same direction, we're much stronger on the other end.
So our drivers are our main point of being here, and that's why we go to these conferences and take away time from our families at home to learn more and to be here for them.
That's exactly right, and hate that Cedric was not able to join us. He was mostly amused by the autonomous trucks and the Ubers that were riding around with no humans in them. So that's all for now. I'm William Everett, Safety Director. You know where to find us. Call us if you need us.